Hi, and welcome to another episode of Puro Dino. As you can see, I'm not sitting in Alfredo or driving Alfredo today. He's currently out of action with a broken drive shaft boot. I hope that gets fixed pretty soon because there's an event on in the Netherlands on the 6th of June, which I really want to be part of. So hopefully we get them fixed in time. But today's episode is about the topic that set the internet really on fire last week, the unveiling of the Ferrari Luce. I intentionally waited a few days before making this video. I already had my emotional reaction in private groups and conversations.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
But I wanted the dust to settle a little bit before sitting down and really thinking about what Ferrari was doing with this car. And strangely enough, when watching all these reactions online, I kept on thinking about the Dino 308 GT4. And yes, there actually is a connection. So if you want to find out what that connection is, keep on watching to find out. So let's start with the good. Because yes, there absolutely is some good things about the Ferrari Luce. Looking at the engineering and the engineering choices that went into the Luce, you can't really say anything negative about the car.
Oh, my view, would you? Oh, gotcha.
From an engineering point of view, Ferrari clearly didn't approach this car lazily. Quite the opposite, actually. And here is where I still recognize Ferrari. Not necessarily in the design, but in the innovation that went into the car. And one thing I genuinely respect is that Ferrari didn't take the easy route or the route that so many other manufacturers take when they introduce an EV and they create all these fake engine noises, fake gearbox, and all that sort of stuff. Ferrari didn't pretend the car is something that it isn't. Ferrari basically said, this is an electric car, let's make it emotional in its own right. And honestly, I really do respect that. Now, I'm not an EV expert, but I watched this really fascinating breakdown comparing the Luce to a BYD U9, explaining some of the engineering innovation that Ferrari developed for this car, and why the Luce might actually be technically superior in some areas. And that part really impressed me. Whether or not I personally like electrical cars or not, that is irrelevant. Ferrari clearly approached the technology seriously, authentically, and with innovation. And to me, that is still Ferrari. Now we get to the difficult part, the design. And let's start with the interior. Now, many reviewers are praising the interior design.
Really?
And this is where I strongly disagree. Functionally, absolutely. Ferrari finally bringing back tactile buttons and physical interaction instead of burying everything in touchscreens, that was a great move. But visually, to me, the interior feels emotionally cold. The moment I saw the first teasers of the interior, alarm bells already went off in my head. The entire design language feels too heavily influenced by minimalist consumer product design. Very clean lines that are always parallel surfaces, round edges, buttons that remind me of smartphones. It all feels very tech-oriented. And yes, you can absolutely feel that influence of law from Apple design, that design language throughout the whole cabin. And the problem isn't even that it looks modern, because let's be honest, that design language has been around for a very long time now. It doesn't look new anymore, doesn't look modern. The problem that I have with this, it just doesn't feel Ferrari. Okay, by using expensive materials, it does feel premium, it does feel expensive, it feels technically impressive, but it doesn't feel passionate. And for me, a Ferrari should never be approached like a consumer product. And now we arrive at the exterior design. Boy, do I need to get ready for this. Okay, let's do this. But I need to make something very clear immediately. I do not think the Ferrari Luce is an ugly car. When I first seen the Ferrari Luce, my reaction wasn't, "That's ugly." My reaction was, "What? That doesn't look or feel like a Ferrari." And I think for many enthusiasts, that disconnect automatically translated into, "Ooh, that's ugly." But those are not necessarily the same thing. Because let's be honest, if that exact same car would have been unveiled by any other EV manufacturer or manufacturer that introduces an EV, people would have looked at it and went, "Yeah, that's okay." The real issue is not ugliness. The real issue is emotional anonymity, and the design just feels generic and boring. And that to me is actually far more dangerous than ugly. Because ugly can become iconic. Boring never does. And this is where I completely disagree with some of the huge automotive publications calling the Luce radical and groundbreaking. Because honestly, what is radical about it? Within seconds of the reveal, people online were comparing it to a number of EVs out there and cars from the past. Now, that does not happen if your product is groundbreaking or radical. The problem is not that Ferrari made a controversial design. The problem is that the design feels optimized, calculated, safe, and template driven. It feels like the product of aerodynamic software and committee decisions. And if there's one thing that Ferrari wasn't historically associated with, it was safe design. So why did Ferrari make this car? This is where it becomes really interesting. I genuinely do not think that Ferrari designed this car for traditional Ferrari enthusiasts. And maybe they never intended to, because the reality is, people like us, petrolheads, we were never going to emotionally love an EV Ferrari like we did the Ferraris of the past. At best, Ferrari could have hoped for our acceptance of the car. Or that's what they feared anyway. So instead they decided to chase a totally different audience. The luxury tech audience. And honestly, Ferrari isn't even hiding that. Look at the reveal strategy. The traditional automotive journalists didn't get the first spotlight. No, instead, Marcus Brownlee got early access. Cleo Abram got the exclusive design interview. And I actually found Cleo Abram's own words during the interview quite revealing. She openly said, "Asking me to do this interview is interesting. I'm not an automotive expert. I'm someone trying to explain this to a wider audience." And I think that says everything. Ferrari isn't primarily trying to speak to the traditional Ferrari enthusiasts or the traditional automotive publications anymore with this car. No, they're trying to speak to wealthy, tech-oriented buyers who want exclusivity in the EV world. And once you realize that, the entire Luce makes a little bit more sense. And this is where we finally come back to the Dino 308 GT4. Because when the GT4 was unveiled, the reactions were also very strong.
Damn!
Many traditional Ferrari enthusiasts hated it. People said, "Doesn't look like a Ferrari." People thought it was ugly. People accused it of looking like a Lamborghini Huracan. People didn't know what to make of the V8. Sounds familiar? But here's the critical difference to me. The GT4 was genuinely radical. The wedge-shaped Bertoni design was daring and risky and completely new at the time and wasn't something that traditional Ferrari buyers expected. And maybe the world simply wasn't ready for it yet. But the important thing is this. You can see and you can feel the courage in the design. The GT4 took risks. Yes, the Luce doesn't. The GT4 challenge expectations. The Luce follows an already established EV template that we have seen now for over a decade. And yes, people also called the GT4 ugly, but again, ugly can become iconic. Boring never does. And today, the GT4 feels distinctive, daring, and instantly recognizable. And I honestly fear that Luce may struggle to achieve that same timeless identity. So, is Ferrari dead? Absolutely not. In fact, technologically speaking,
تكنولوجيا 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 تكنولوجيا.
I think Ferrari deserves enormous respect for the engineering decisions that they've taken with the Luce. They refused to fake emotion and they refused to make the car something that it isn't. And in an industry where many manufacturers try to recreate the emotion of a combustion engine by adding fake sounds and all that sort of stuff, Ferrari went a different and a much more authentic direction with their approach to the Luce. And to me, that deserves enormous respect. But the design? That is where I struggle. Because I keep looking at the Luce and wonder, where is that emotional courage that Ferrari is so known for? Where is that visual drama? Where is the daringness? Where is the sense that Ferrari is shown as something that we've never seen before? Like many of you, I've already seen redesigns online by the likes of Sugar Design and Bambly, and many of them look way more emotionally Ferrari, without actually changing too much of the overall proportions of the car. Which makes me wonder, what if Ferrari would have taken all that EV innovation that they put in this car and wrapped it in a design emotionally capable of persuading traditional Ferrari enthusiasts to at least dip their toe into the EV world? Could Ferrari have entered the EV era without emotionally alienating so many of its traditional fans? We'll never know, because Ferrari made a different choice. And maybe that choice will prove commercially brilliant, but emotionally, I'm not convinced. Because Ferrari once wowed the world by showing us things that we have never seen before. The problem with Luce is, it feels like it's a car that I've seen 100 times before. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao a tutti. Bye.